A click too far. Gather around, because what I'm about to share is not some conjured piece of fiction. This is a true story, one that I still have trouble believing myself. It's a cautionary tale about venturing into the deepest corners of the internet, the dark web. Growing up in the digital age, I was always curious about the unexplored segments of the internet. You see, most of us tread only on the surface web, your usual social media sites, news outlets, and online shopping sites. Beneath that lies the deep web, made up of academic databases, confidential documents, and personal mail servers. But further down, obscured in the abyss, is the dark web. One evening, after a couple of beers with my college buddies, Mike and Jenny, we decided to dive into this shadow realm. Mike, a tech whiz, had the necessary tools: a specialized browser, an encrypted connection, and a fake IP address. We were virtually untraceable, or so we believed. The dark web is a marketplace for the forbidden. We stumbled upon pages selling narcotics, counterfeit money, and some unsavory services. We were in it for the thrill, hovering like ghosts, just observing. But then Jenny, with an uneasy fascination, clicked on a link titled, "The Final Watch." A black screen loaded, with a timer counting down from 10 minutes and an empty chat box. "What is this? Some sort of live stream?" Mike wondered aloud. As seconds ticked away, a message appeared in the chat. "Host, welcome new viewers. Ready for the show?" Our intrigue piqued. "Maybe it's some underground music gig," Jenny suggested, trying to sound hopeful, but what appeared next on the screen wasn't music. The blackness receded, revealing a dimly lit room. At the center stood a steel chair, and beside it, a table with an assortment of tools: knives, pliers, hammers. The setup was eerily surgical. Viewer _312. Fresh faces tonight? Host. As always, stay tuned. The chat exploded with anticipation. Our harmless exploration had landed us in some twisted corner of the internet, and we should have left. But we didn't. The morbid curiosity of what the show entailed held us captive. The timer hit 0. A man, masked and gloved, stepped into the frame, dragging behind him a bound figure, gagged and terrified. My heart raced, my mouth went dry. I wanted to believe it was all a twisted act, a performance, but the sheer terror in the captive's eyes, it felt too genuine. "Guys, we need to leave this now," I stammered. Before we could act, another message appeared. "Host, for our new viewers tonight, let's play a game. Choose the tool." The chat buzzed with suggestions. It was sickening. "Turn it off," Jenny cried. Mike panicked, tried to close the window, but it was unresponsive. The masked man picked up a knife, approaching his victim. That's when another chat bubble popped up. "Host, Mike, Jenny, and my name. Thanks for joining. Special show for you tonight." Frozen in terror, we stared at the screen. How did they know our names? Were we not anonymous? Were we in danger? Host. Before we continue, look out your window. With a sinking feeling, I turned to our dorm window. A distant figure stood under the streetlight, holding up a phone. A call came through Mike's laptop. "Don't answer it," I whispered. But Mike, already pale, clicked accept. A distorted voice filled the room. "Enjoying the show? Remember, every click on the web leaves a footprint. You're not as hidden as you believe." Mike ended the call, his hands shaking. "We need to contact the police," he muttered. Before we could react, the screen displayed our dorm's exterior, a live feed. Our room number was clearly visible. In a state of panic, we barricaded our door, switched off the lights, and dialed 911. All the while, the haunting stream from The Final Watch played in the background, the victims' muffled cries echoing our own fears. It felt like hours, but soon, the wail of sirens filled the night. Police officers stormed our building. The live feed abruptly cut off. In the ensuing investigation, it was revealed that our digital dive into the dark web wasn't as discreet as we believed. A hacker had piggybacked our connection, tracing back to our physical location. The figure under the streetlight was apprehended. As for The Final Watch, the stream was found to be a mix of disturbingly real and staged performances. We were lucky. Our lives returned to a semblance of normalcy, but the trauma lingers. The digital world's shadows had shown their teeth, and we bore the scars of the encounter. So when you're around a campfire, enjoying the world's organic wonders, remember my story. There are some doors, especially digital ones, that are better left unopened. Because once you peek into the abyss stares back at you. The Hourglass Estate. I never believed in the supernatural until I spent a weekend at the Hourglass Estate. This isn't some story plucked from fiction. This happened to me, and the chilling memories still lurk in the shadows of my mind. Gather round, friends, because what I'm about to recount is the stuff of nightmares. The Hourglass Estate had been in my family for generations, its dark silhouette a sentinel within the heart of a pine forest. My knowledge of it was limited to family tales and warnings, whispered cautiously at reunions. When I unexpectedly inherited the mansion following Aunt Clara's mysterious disappearance, the historian in me saw an opportunity to delve into family history. I convinced my friends Jake, Mia, and Lily to explore it over a weekend. The journey there was memorable. The forest path was shrouded in a thick mist, the trees forming ghostly figures. When the fog finally cleared, the estate's Gothic towers and stone walls loomed above us, both magnificent and foreboding. Despite its eerie exterior, the inside was a marvel of a bygone era. Grand chandeliers, opulent tapestries, and vast rooms greeted us. Yet the center of attention was undeniably the enormous ornate hourglass situated in the main hall. The sands within were curiously still. Our first evening was one of excitement, mixed with unease. As night blanketed the estate, every creak and whisper seemed amplified. But the most unsettling event was when the estate's grandfather clock chimed midnight. A haunting piano melody drifted through the corridors. Drawn to it, I found a shadowy figure playing, an ethereal silhouette that bore a strong resemblance to Aunt Clara. Before I could get closer, it vanished, leaving behind an echoing silence. The next morning over breakfast, Mia and Lily shared their own unsettling experiences. Mia had stumbled upon a nursery room filled with antique toys that sprung to life, their movements synchronized and eerily deliberate. Lily recounted a more harrowing experience. She'd found a room filled with mirrors, each reflecting a different era. But in one, she saw herself aged, her youthful face replaced by wrinkles and white hair. Jake, always the skeptic, tried rationalizing our experiences, suggesting it was just our minds playing tricks. But even he had to pause when he noticed the sands of the hourglass now trickling steadily. Intrigued and seeking answers, we turned to the mansion's library, a repository of my family's history. Among the piles of journals, Aunt Clara's diary offered insight. It unveiled a history of the estate's occupants experiencing distortions in time. The hourglass wasn't merely an artifact, but a conduit, linking different times, its sands affecting the fabric of time within the mansion. Our second night was when reality truly unraveled. Jake, in a mix of bravado and curiosity, decided to turn the hourglass. The consequence was immediate. The mansion seemed to breathe, its walls pulsating. Rooms reshuffled their positions, hallways twisted into labyrinthine patterns, and an oppressive heaviness settled. In this new version of the estate, we were no longer alone. Ghostly apparitions roamed. In a grand ballroom, spectral figures danced endlessly, their faces a mask of both joy and sorrow. A dining room showcased a lavish feast with translucent guests, forever savoring the same bite. We were trapped in a loop of time, with events from the past playing out in front of us. Desperation set in. Clara's diary became our beacon, providing cryptic clues to breaking the cycle. To control time, one must confront its keeper, one entry read. As the third night approached, and with the sands rapidly depleting, we realized we needed to face the keeper of the sands. Our encounter with this entity was a surreal experience. It was a shifting shadow, sometimes taking the form of past family members, including a young Aunt Clara. It attempted to disorient us, showing us glimpses of our past and potential futures. But united and determined, we used Clara's clues to navigate the mansion's altered reality. Following her guidance, we managed to turn the hourglass upright once again. The immediate effect was staggering. The mansion's layout reverted, the apparitions faded, and the weight in the air lifted. Exhausted and traumatized, we fled as dawn broke, leaving behind the estate and its mysteries. To this day, the Hourglass Estate remains a place I dare not revisit. I've since sealed it off, letting nature reclaim it. My advice to anyone hearing this tale is simple. Time is a force we don't fully understand, and there are places in this world where its rules are bent, twisted, and broken. Beware of where curiosity might lead, for not all mysteries are meant to be unraveled.